Johnny Shoemaker, Andrew Calvano, Tournament Talk on the Tournament Edge for Saturday, December 10th. It's Gulfsream Park Race 8. Andrew, it's a $75,000 Buffalo Man Stakes. It's 6 furlongs on the dirt for 2-year-olds, a field of 9. Recruiting Ready, the 9-horse, is your 1-to-1 morning line favorite. Low connections with Joel Rosario aboard. I get it, Andrew. No question about it. There's class. There's a ton of gate speed. But at the end of the day, considering how much other speed there is in this race, and we're looking at Horatio De Paz from a trainer standpoint that I don't know that much about, at that type of odds, considering how much I think this horse is going to have to work to earn this victory, I just decided to take a small stab against. But make no mistake about it. If this horse runs his races that he ran over the summer, everyone's running for second.
I agree with you, Bob. This is going to be a tough one to beat, but I think you can get around this one, especially in the tournament type. You know, you're not going to want to take this horse at even money. Honestly, I think this horse goes off 4 to 5. This is clearly the horse to beat. Let's just look at who this one's raced against. I mean, Classic Empire only loses by less than a length. You know, not this time in the Iroquois. Gun Ever in the Saratoga Special. You know, so obviously this one brings in a tremendous track record. And you have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 horses coming out of maiden races to make up the other 8 horses. So I think that says a lot about the talent level in this group. So you're obviously just talking dropping graded stakes to overnight 7. So this one's definitely the one to beat. And I'm not going to get too crazy to beat this one. And I'm going to land on number 2 here. Number 2, Sonic Mule, 9-2 at Todd Pletcher, and only at 9-2. If this one goes down to 3-1 for some reason, I may have to reconsider it. But if we're looking at this horse, maiden special win at Monmouth Park was very strong. Then Todd brought this one to Saratoga like he did other horses from Monmouth this year. Placed 3rd through disqualification after finishing 4th. This one was bumped very, very hard, and that's when Recruiting Ready was kind of involved in that and got placed 3rd there. You know, so beating 18 lengths. I'm not going to say the horse was going to win the race, but I think there was an ultimate factor of why this one, you know, did not run well at all. Comes back in the Sapling, you know, a very, very strong race at Monmouth. Didn't really, you know, run, just kind of ran evenly, and you know, not really sure what was going on there. Then this one comes to the Armed Forces, runs on the turf. Not much pedigree there for the turf, but I can see it. Comes back in optional claiming 75 and kind of crushes the field. So I'm thinking this one has learned how to rate. This one can deal with the speed here, and I think he can get this one at 9-2.
Yeah, Andrew, I figured that this is where you were going to go, and the problem I have with this horse is not anything that you just said. I just don't think the horse is going to win the race. I think the horse, despite the fact Sonic Mule dealt with a ton of adversity the day that he faced Recruiting Ready, if you watch the video, he's just not better. And I know I'm going to get a short price, and I feel like a majority of the tournament players out there are going to take Todd Pletcher and Johnny Velasquez, and understandably so. They're going to the Hall of Fame together. I just don't like the horse. I don't like the horse at 9-2. I think 3-1 is probably what you're going to get, and I certainly don't like him there. I don't like a lot in this field. I mean, I think this is a very weak field, but you got to admit, Andrew, I mean, isn't it kind of sketchy, or maybe I'm wrong? I mean, obviously you can disagree with me here that the 9's running against the caliber of horses that this horse has been running against and holding its own. I mean, Churchill Downs loses the Classic Empire, who right now might be the top 2-year-old in the country, maybe Mastery, but nonetheless really up there, and loses by a length in a Grade 2 stakes race at Saratoga. Now all of a sudden we're looking at him in an overnight stakes at Gulfstream Park against a lot of horses that have no class, no speed, nothing whatsoever. Your thoughts on the 9 being in the race at all?
Yeah, no, definitely a shocker. I mean, let's not forget that this one, you know, was favored in the Saratoga Special. Was 3-1 in the Iroquois. You know, this isn't a 30-1 shot that just ran big and they said, hey, let's pick up a paycheck in a $75,000 race. You know, in Sagamore Farms, you know, take very good care of their horses, and they're a great ownership group. And I think they're just looking to pick up a win here. This is a spot where you have the horse coming off the layoff. He's working very, very well at Palm Meadows. So, you know, maybe they pick this up and they try to get back onto the Derby trail. Obviously, it looked like, you know, that was the 2-year-old campaign effort. So maybe this is just to get a wind under the belt, tell the horse how to be a horse again, and they move forward. But I don't think the drop in stakes is anything discrediting to any type of injury or something like that. I honestly think Connection's just looking for a win and get back on the right track with this horse.
Fair enough. So I'll just get right to my top selection. As I mentioned to you, I think the 9 is way the horse to beat. Certainly your most likely winner. Just couldn't do it because I think there's other horses that want to be on the front, and one of which is Uncle B. Now, not my top selection, but here's why I'm taking against the 9 and who I am going to go with. The 1 showed a lot of gate speed last time out. In fact, this horse is very fast, period. Understandably, Andrew, it's on the synthetic. But this horse gets the rail with Javier Castellano aboard, and I know the 1's going to the lead. And not to mention the 9 having company from the 1, you could also argue that the 3 is going to provide a lot of company for the 9 early as well. So you've got the 9 on the outside with the 3 and the 1 on the inside. Maybe, just maybe, they compromise one another. And I went with a horse that has not run in 160 days, has only run once in his life. And that's the 7-horse Talk Logistics for Eddie Polisa Jr., Paco Lopez aboard. Paco's rode very well this week thus far. I know this horse was on the lead at Parks, Andrew, but not nearly the gate speed that we've seen from the 1, 3, and the 9. If you look at the numbers, they increased as the race went on at 5 furlongs. Now they go 6. Obviously, best case scenario would be this. Either the 9 wins the race or the 1, 3, 9 compromise each other, which I don't think is completely out of the question. And something comes from off of it. Paco is very, very successful this time of year at Gulfsream Park. It's one of his better meets. He's not getting on this horse for no reason, Andrew. He thinks he's got a shot to do something here. Maybe the 7 can run second at an overlay, or maybe he can upset the apple cart. This is more of a defense play for me than it is an offensive play. I hope the 9 wins if the 7 doesn't, but I don't think the 7 can necessarily be overlooked.
Yeah, without a doubt, Bob. And I actually wrote some very good notes here that you went over as well. First off, first-time Lasix for Eddie Polisa, obviously, stepping this one up, probably going to need that. Off the layoff, the trainer is 15% with a sort of low ROI, but you're talking about Eddie Polisa, who runs many of his horses out of Monmouth Park and is the favorite regardless, where it seems that him and Paco Lopez in Monmouth Park go off every race at 2 to 5. So, somebody mentioned the ROI, and I had to point that out there. But going back into the actual horse here, wins out that Parks race was actually very kind of competitive. Glory Stars comes back to crush in this one's next time out start. A $5,000 stud fee from the High Cotton Sire. This is an OBS training purchase for $100,000. Yeah. So I think Connection saw something, very, very, key here in this one's running ability. I think this is a horse that's obviously going to stay down in Florida as a state bred, and stick around here more often. I don't think they're going to ship this one anymore, but I think this one's a good horse that can obviously progress here. Bob, I like this one. The reason I didn't go further with this horse was obviously, like I said, in the other race, wanted something that was coming out of a maiden race here. But obviously, I think this horse has a lot of upside. And to talk more on the horses that you believe are going to affect the pace, I also had the 4 Red Crescent. Also, with Edgar Zayas, a very aggressive rider, thought he was going to dictate the pace a little bit more. And I thought there was going to be a lot of early speed from number 8 in his image. Not as much as I do the 4, but I think that one may be sent as well. But I think the 4 out of the 2 horses I mentioned is going to be quicker, and I just wanted to let you know that. Fine.
The more pace, the better, in my opinion. Give us your top selection one more time.
Yeah, and definitely on the same page with Bobby here. Definitely believe number 9, Recruiting Ready, is the horse to beat. But I'm going to land on for a tournament selection here. Number 2, Sonic Mule at 9 to 2. If lower than that, if this one does go below, is around the 3 to 1 area, probably going to have to look elsewhere. But 9 to 2 to me is solid price to be the favorite.
Going with the 7, Talk Logistics, not necessarily because I love the horse. I think if there is an upset in this race, the 7 deserves a long look. So that's going to do it for Gulfstream Park Race 8 for Saturday, December 10th. It's the $75,000 Buffalo Man Stakes. Andrew Calvano, Bobby Shoemaker. Good luck.
Good luck, guys.
Don't you ever be sad. Lean on me.
now you get Castellano in a big spot. He wins big races. He's the Mike Smith of